Heyo everybody, Haku here with my live reaction for Tower of God Chapter 613 or Season 3 Episode 196. I'm extremely excited as always. Right before we get into things, I guess, I'm just going to talk about last week's chapter a little because of getting into this week's. And also, I wanted to say last week I shouted out responses to the Princess video prompt that were done by Animosity and by Nayade Hemmings, and this week we had responses from both Pyro Prima and Tower Climber, so just like last week they will be linked down in the comments and description, unless of course I forget, in which case they will be linked there when I notice that I forgot, and hopefully none of you notice that I forgot. So they will be linked in the comments and description if you want to see their responses to the video as well. And yeah, I guess that's the only thing I needed to shout out. Talking about being excited for this chapter, I just, for the past few months, have been so excited about everything Tower of God. I've loved watching other people's Tower of God content. I've loved waiting for these chapters and doing these chapters every single week. But it's funny, despite the fact that I'm so extremely excited every single week, I can be honest. I can be fair. I can be critical and say that though I deeply love Tower of God, I can point out when I think it's not the best, and I think that this is arguably some of the weakest stuff in the series. I think last week's chapter was really good. Last week's chapter has me thinking, okay, you know, Siyu has kind of flopped time and time again with Rak and Khun's characters, but things like what's going on now with Rak, a big problem that Rak has had is that he's been shoved into the background. He hasn't been taken seriously. He's been just comic relief, and there's nothing wrong with him being comic relief, but there maybe is something wrong with him being just comic relief. So going on from what's happened recently and going into last chapter, it's like, okay, we're getting more internal dialogue for him. We're having him taken more seriously. We're seeing more full-sized Rak. I think that, you know, again, even if things weren't done that great in the past, we could be looking at maybe better writing for Rak in the future, hopefully. And the same thing goes with Khun, though Khun has been kind of a mess for a bit. Maybe we'll have something where, again, Khun now has the firefish that he can use to reawaken himself. Plus, we could have him be like, okay, so last time my heart was exploded, so my body just naturally froze itself. But now I was about to die, so I froze my heart, and I can also unthaw my heart. And maybe Khun can get out, can go through with some crazy plan because Dumas thinks, I killed the guy, but Khun was actually, freezing himself and then unfreezing himself. There's things that can be done with Khun's character that would be, you know, smart and cunning and really work. Because again, Khun has just been following Bomb, and that's been his only character trait, and time again, he's just been outsmarted. He's supposed to be the smart, cunning character of the group, and he is constantly getting, I say all the time, he's getting the one Mr. Krabs, meme face where it's like he's just looking around confused. Khun is the one that's constantly getting cooned. He is constantly being fooled, and Siyu just has to throw power-ups at him. And that's been the problem, because I've seen other people say there's so many great ways that Khun could be written in the story. Siyu's just not doing that. Siyu's just throwing power-ups at him instead. And I think, again, hopefully all this stuff happening here with Dumas, it looks bleak at the moment, but hopefully it's leading to some better Khun development and some better Khun writing, to look on the positive side of things. But also, again, just being honest with things in the past, like with Rak, for example. As much as I have been fine with this Rak power-up, as much as I think, yeah, it makes total sense to me, it's been built up since the Edwan stuff, while it has been hinted at since the Edwan stuff, I guess to be fair, it hasn't really been built up that well, because really we've had a few moments of him helping Bomb out, but other than that, it's been the problem of Rak stuck as somebody who's not been taken seriously, who we haven't, Khun and Rak have been around, they just have not been doing anything. They haven't been given the attention that they deserve as actual characters. And that's what the problem is with Rack here, because we went from seeing Rack pretty consistently it was frustrating. People were always frustrated because Rack was consistently like losing to regulars, and we've made the jump from him consistently losing to regulars to him beating high rankers with like no real progression that we've paid any attention to. And I think that, that's kind of an issue. And of course, Bomb has had issues in general. And, I took a lot of these ideas and a lot of things that I was hit with from the comments to a video that Dr. Bonehead made this week about the whole like Kun and Rack situation, specifically Kun. And I just think there are a lot of issues. To me, the issue with the Kun power-up stuff and him using spells is it would be different. Kun is supposed to be the smart character. Why did we get no scenes of him being like, oh yeah, I'm studying spells, but I can't really use them because maybe he hasn't given up something he needed to give up, or maybe he just wasn't right for it. But he studied them. He knew what spells were or how they worked because he was smart, he was educated, and so then him getting the powers from White, he's like, oh, I can now put this into practice now. That would have been so well done. But instead, we have Kun, who's like, I don't even know how spells work, but he sounds like the character from Forspoken, where he's like, I can do this now? I just did this with my mind, and it's just so ridiculous, where he's like, I don't even know how spells work, but I guess I can use them now. It's like, how do you use something that you don't even know how it works? How is this at all, like, acceptable writing with Kun? It's like, not only did he not work for it, he didn't build to it, he didn't study for it or train for it, he doesn't even get how it works, he can just magically use it. And I, again, just think it's an issue of CU could write this so much better, but he's not doing so. I said the other week, I was like, I really think the Slay the Chess Pieces game maybe wasn't the best way to organize this arc, and Elegias, I think it was, on Discord was like, I don't think it's the Slay the Chess Pieces that's the problem, and I can admit when I'm wrong. Maybe it's not. Maybe Slay the Chess Pieces would be a good setup for this arc if CU was writing it better, because CU could write this better. He's just generally not. And something that I said when commenting on Dr. Bonehead's video is I think that one of the issues going into this Bomb Kun Rack stuff that's kind of, I don't know, made it worse for a lot of people, I think, is that consistently going throughout season 3, the worst parts of season 3 in pretty much any arc have been the main trio stuff. Like, I miss Lobadan. I miss Yama right now. We haven't seen him in like a couple weeks, maybe a month or two. I miss them. I miss Kirin. I miss all of these subplots. The subplots with the family heads, Trauma and Gustang. Because all of these side characters that have been introduced and their side stories and subplots have been really, really good. And I've cared a lot for these side characters. And CU could do that. He did that in the past with all of Bomb's teammates that we never ever get to see do things anymore. But instead, like, again, they're really good. And now I think one of the parts that's holding this back is that we've been focused on the main trio, and the main trio has either Rack and Kun been shoved to the background not doing anything, or have been the worst subplots or the worst parts of every arc in season 3. And the thing is, I don't think that this is anything that's like, oh, I'm going to drop Tower of God. Oh, this is the worst thing ever. It's not the worst thing ever. I can say that this is kind of a low point in the series, while still being like, I love Tower of God, so my idea of a low point isn't that extremely low compared to so many other long-running series that I've read. So compared to so many things, it's not that big of a low point, but it is kind of a low point. And I think a part of that low point is that we've been focusing on the main trio, and the main trio have just been CU's weakest writing point for like 200 to 300 chapters. I think that's part of my issue here, and there's probably even more I wanted to say about all this, but I'm forgetting it. But yeah, like I said, I want to see all these other side characters again, just because I really, really, really liked them. And I'm, again, just cautiously optimistic. I'm always trying to look to the brighter side, that even though things have been rough with Kun and Rack and the way that they've been written, and of course Bomb has had some issues, I don't think that Bomb is as rough as he could be as a character the way that he's written, but I don't think that it's the worst, but I think that it's been pretty rough. But I think that we could be on like maybe an upturn. Maybe CU uses this to turn their characters around and do something good with them. I would really, really hope for something good like that. Oh, and the last thing I wanted to bring up before getting into the actual reaction is I've seen some people complain about Bomb not using everything, and I kind of think he is. I kind of think, or like Bomb not going all out, I kind of think Bomb has been going all out. Like, he hasn't really used Burnt Chestnut, but ever since the fight with Data Zahard, we like pretty much never see Burnt Chestnut. The stuff he did against White, I do think it's kind of funny. The stuff he did against White was like him just losing control, tapping into a power that he can't consciously tap into, and I thought it was funny. I think I mentioned it in like maybe Pyro stream or something, where I was like, Bomb was more pissed about White lying about killing Akraptor than he's pissed about Dumas seemingly actually killing Kun right in front of him. So it's funny that he lost it for that, but he's not really losing it for this as much. But I do think he's trying to go all out. He tried to use the Thrissa transformation, but Dumas canceled it. He's using Leviathan. He's using the Thorn. He's using his Shinsu control skills. I think he is going all out. It's just, I don't know that he can use literally every single thing all at once to the best of his ability or anything. I don't think he's a complete master at every single thing to the point where he can use them all at the same time. Or maybe that's not even how these things work. Maybe you can't really use them effectively at the same time. I think I used an example. It's like, say you're really, really, really good at riding a bike. You're on some Tour de France shit. And then you're like really, really good at basketball. You're good at both of these things. And somebody tells you, be good at both of them at once. And it's like, how do I do? You want me to play basketball while I'm riding a bike? It's like, you can be good at two different things, but maybe the two of them, you don't really do them at the same time. So I think that's it. And for people, I've seen some people like, why doesn't Bomb use both Thorns at once? The second Thorn seemingly is just like spatial controlled transportation stuff. And some people have said, well, use it anyway. That could be helpful. But I don't really think that Bomb knows how to use it very well. He even said so at the beginning of the Sprout, when they were about to get taken away from the Sprout and they were in the puffer ship. He was like, I don't really know how the second Thorn works yet, but I've got to do something. I've got to try something. And then Bomb uses the second Thorn to transport the puffer ship to the Sprout, but it gets all destroyed and messed up in the process. So it's not exactly like a clean transport job done by Bomb here. So that's seemingly what the second Thorn fragment mostly does, and it seems like Bomb doesn't really 100% get how to use it to its full effectiveness yet. So again, that's just something I've seen people complain about, and I don't think that's a big deal, because I think Bomb is trying to bust out everything. He's just literally struggling against Dumas here regardless. And I think that maybe it's something where like he can't necessarily bust out literally everything at the same time. But either way, long Haku intro aside, let's finally get into reading. Then we have this violence warning. And of course, I just remembered now too that we ended last chapter with, I think, one of the funnest moments in the series, where Bomb was just so serious, about to finally have this big moment using Dragon Tiger Gate, and he gets rotated by Dumas, just hands grabbing into the panel and spinning him. It's hilarious. It's funny. It's Looney Tunes-esque and shows this like wide gap between them. And we end the chapter on it. I think that was such a fun way to end the chapter, to have it like, oh crap, Bomb's hitting this big moment, and then it gets canceled like that and we end. I think that was a really, really good moment. So yeah, the chapters before last chapter, like the chapter or two before last, I think were really weak. Some, again, a low point for the series, but I really, especially after like going back through it, watching everybody else's reactions, I really liked last chapter. None of my attacks are working. Okay, are we going to get this recapped again? But what if I use my master's technique that I saw that day? And these panels looked really good as well. He goes for the Twin Dragon Tiger Gate. Again, I love the hands reaching into the panel, grabbing him, and then just spinning him. Just get rotated. Bomb is the baby shark. And he's slammed into the ground once again. We have him trembling. And we have Bomb versus Dumas 3, so we're sticking with the title. Sorry, hiccup. Alright, and I just mentioned these guys in the intro. We're going back to Yama. We're finally cutting back away. Like, I have been waiting for this group because I'm really interested in what happens with Proust, with Yama, with Lobanon, because Lobanon's coming to try to stop the war. Plus, we have FUG coming, we have Walhaiksong coming. There's so much that's happening. And I love that, I love this group. I want to see more Yama, I want to see more Doom, I want to see Cha versus Fluffy Hat Guy, I want to see Dewan do things. So yeah, I'm really glad we're getting back to this. What a surprise. I didn't think Baylord Yama was so powerful. Kill him. We have a bunch of the Popodao nerds running in. And just getting absolutely blasted from just Yama's pure Shinsu, it seems. Oh, and Erno is there. Of course, we saw Kier before. Shinsu control skill. Giant's breath. And then Yama buffing his arm and sending an attack forward. Alright, and we have the attack skimming past Erno and just wreaking destruction. And he gets punched. Man, just caving his face in. Yama just demolishing Erno. And Yama before, remember, we've seen him kind of get embarrassed a bit by Yusracha, but I genuinely think Yusracha was top 100, like as a division commander and everything, or squadron commander. I think he was top 100. Plus there's the fact that Yusracha mentioned, meeting or seeing Zahard and the family heads before. Like, I think Yusracha was a big deal. So we saw Yama kind of getting embarrassed by him. But the thing is, Yama beat Doom in his prime, and Doom in his prime was top 200. Plus now Yama has Doom's Fang. We can maybe assume that after sleeping in Yusracha's lighthouse, maybe he has Yama's as well, so now he has the full power of the Fang. And if that's the case, because again, we saw him break through Proust, who, if Proust is at that level of like Lobanon and Dumas, Proust is no joke. He busted straight through Proust's lighthouse barrier. He destroyed the ancient weapon thing. So Yama now might be like next level strong. Like, I don't think family head strong, but he might be getting up there. Like, Yama might, we have Shipwan Ryu now. Yama might legitimately be getting up to, like, that top 50 area. That bastard's quite amusing. We have Michelle as well. Head librarian, it's almost time. I think I'd better start heading down now. So can you finish up with everything here for me? Sure, no problem. What shall we do? They're coming. Second in command Belarir's heading down. Attack. Alright. He launches, it looks like the Shinwan Ryu burst from the Shipwan Ryu that we saw before. Watch out, Yama. Because there was a character, it was Traumaray that saw the burst and was like, oh, that's Shinwan Ryu. So we again, now we get to see what it looks like when Yama clashes with Shinwan Ryu. And we have just this massive burst. What do you think you're doing, Head Librarian Michel? Why are you attacking your own fleet? Does it really matter, Proust? They're all going to die anyway. What? Charge, damn it. Let's blow those bastards to bits. Okay, and we have the team up here. Dewan, Kadede, and Doom. If we can just destroy that thing, we'll have nothing to fear. I really liked that toy. Oh, and this is Belarir looking at the ancient weapon, I guess. Too bad I can't use it anymore. I never imagined Slayer Yama could break through that barrier. High rankers never fail to surprise me. Oh well, it doesn't matter. I've got a surprise of my own for you all right here. And we have... Are those more warp gates? I can't tell. Oh, it is. Is that a warp? Says Proust. I didn't hear about any other troops coming. Kidding. Oh, right. Because the other Pobedals wouldn't know that Belarier's working with Revolution, so he's bringing in other parts of Revolution. He's bringing in Kirin. Okay, so now we're having Kirin and Belarier like really out themselves at this point. All right, and that's something else that we talked about over the course of the past week that I've talked to some of you about, is how the Lopobia is kind of screwed. Like, the Lopobia characters have actually been getting killed. It's different for a lot of the Pobedals. The Pobedals, there was one who died. There was Guiscard died, and then Richemont returned to riding. But other than that, even the members of the Pobedal that have been defeated, like Hugo or Varan, I think is still alive even though he was defeated. Like, these ones who were defeated were still kept alive to be used again in the story potentially, whereas we're not going to use a lot of these Lopobia again. They're actually getting killed. So it's like, if Kirin does get, like, if something happens to Traumerei, whether he's sealed away, whether he's killed, and Kirin becomes the new family head, does Kirin even have any family left? Even any ones that would still be loyal to him? Like, what is the end game for Kirin at this point? Because, again, will he have any family left by the end of this? The Lopobia has been pretty destroyed. Kirin, Commander, above us. And something else is coming in? There's another floating carrier coming down. Is this going to be more revolution? And we have Kirin's ship coming behind him with the ship on rear. And the three eyes? Hold on, I just got chills. Okay, the three eyes. What on earth is this? Excuse me? So it is a scar and not... Hold on. This... He doesn't even look the same here. He looks so much bulkier. If this is the same one, he looks so much bulkier than he did back at the nest. So we have the boss in this insane armor. What on earth is even this? This is nuts. So I think this is the same one with the long hair and the thing over his eye. I think this is the same guy. Excellent. I love the smell of a battlefield covered in blood. And he still uses the three... He uses the three eyes on his ship. It's time for the tower's newest champion to make his appearance. What? We have the... Wow, the ancient weapon was cleaved straight in half. Why does Kadede have a baseball bat? He had spears before. But I love this shot. Look at the ship designs. The ship designs are so good in Tower of God. So Michel must be working with Belarier, and we know Gaston's kind of in on it too. Gaston knows more than he lets on. So I guess with what Michel said to Proust, that Michel is siding with Belarier and Revolution. Because now we're seeing we have this Lobadan Yama group, which is cool. We have this really cool group, and their opponents for this arc, again, I care so much more about this than the bomb stuff. Their opponents for this arc are Belarier and Michel controlling the Shipwan Ryu, the boss, and whatever kind of revolution people he might have with him. Will we get to see Yuan Danhua again? Will Yolen Kel play any role? Like, whatever people that he could have with him. Plus we have Kirin and Kirin's troops. He should still have Kukura with him. Purpur should be being held by Lobadan's people probably. And there was the one unnamed one that never got unmasked. So we have Kirin. So like we have the Kirin boss and Belarier revolution troops versus the Yama and Lobadan group. It's so good. I care so much more about this theater of the battle. What the hell? And who knows, where does Proust lie? Does Proust fall in with Revolution because of Gaston, or does Proust flip and work with the quote-unquote good guy group? I guess we're the good guys. Is that... Such a great question. You look... I need to keep the Traumerei panel around. Hold on, let me go back up to this boss captain Daejang panel. We need the Traumerei panel where it's, you sure look funny. Like, I love that panel. We just need to keep that on standby for whenever we get hit with something like this. I need to pull that panel up. Just, you sure look funny. Actually, hold on one second. Actually, never mind. I was like, I know I have that panel saved, but no, it's on the old computer where I have that panel saved. Dang it. So yeah, I was just going to throw it up. But the you sure look funny panel. And we have stepping. That was a mistake. He wasn't supposed to die. Again, he's not dying. But that last technique he used made me feel threatened like never before. I'm astounded. And we have them taken down. I can't believe a group of 3 mere regulars, how many times we have to hear that, actually posed a threat to me. And he feels for a pulse. It's faint, but there's still a pulse. He picks him up. And then tosses him into his heart. We have a flash of light. I mean, he still has to take him to Gaston. And then the energy body wakes back up from before. So it's very weird. We talked about, too, how the Karaka situation, Bomb was like, it's weird that he's in his inner world. And Karaka also, multiple times when he was injured, Karaka bled, whereas on the inside, we haven't seen Dumas bleed. We've just seen this, like, purple energy body. So it's like, Dumas's human-ish body is, like, within his actual inner world, but he has this energy body on the outside, whereas seemingly Karaka's actual body is in his armor on the outside. My heart's beating again. My little experiment worked. The irregular is still inside my armor. Now all I need to do is bring him to the family head. Alright? And we get cliffhung. Again, what a good chapter. What a good chapter. Cutting away from the main trio stuff and getting to really exciting stuff. Plus, Dumas just continuing to be great. And I think defeat is great for main characters. Facing a defeat can just lead to good stuff down the line. It can lead to them growing and developing, and we can maybe actually have some more natural growth and development. Hopefully, maybe at some point. So yeah, I think that was a really great chapter once again. Going to show you all the credits here. I loved that one. I thought it was really, really very good. I'm excited for more Dumas, and I love the concept now. We have one of the Daejang here. We know there's more than one, and their ship looked amazing. It's weird. It's interesting that they still use the 3 red eyes. I guess because they're revolution. And when he first talked about revolution, Gororo said the purpose of revolution was that the natural order is that the old generation should die out and the new generation should take hold. And then look at who we have it as the kind of 3 heads of revolution right here on this battlefield. We have Bellerir, who wants to maybe take down the 10 families, take over for Gaston. He calls himself Gaston's heir. We have Kirin, who has outright stated he wants to take over after Traumerei. He wants Traumerei to be taken down and Kirin to supplant him. And then we can assume the third one we have now is somebody who looks just like Zahard, a probable son or clone, whatever the bosses in Karaka and Wangnan are, of Zahard. So it's like we have this new generation, the new generation like versions of Traumerei and Gaston and Zahard who want to take them down and, again, like I said, supplant them, to succeed them as the next generation here. And it's so cool. We have Revolution paired up against a really cool group that we could get some really cool fights out of. We have Yama, who again is just reaching a whole nother level right now. On top of that, there's Lobadan. Hugo is there, and Hugo, I think, would definitely side with the good guys over Revolution. Proust might switch sides. We don't know where Proust is going to land on this. We've got Doom and Dewan, Cha, Kadede and Catan are there. There's so many cool characters that are in this arc that I really hope we see more of them. Plus, the family heads are still around. Mirchia and FUG are still in play. We could see Karaka or Jinsung or Garnak or Kelhalam show up. We could still see Yurik show up, and who knows who from Wall Song is with him. If he said he's hunting the people that are behind this war, right now we just saw the three heads of it. We saw the people behind this war. The people behind this war are the boss, Kirin and Bellerir. And so that is like right there for Yurik to show up. So we have that there. And the whole tower's newest champion. What does that mean? That's so cool. On top of all that, again, when Yurik does show up, we don't know who is with him. I would love to be reintroduced to some more Wall Song people, or to meet some more Wall Song people. So yeah, this chapter was amazing. So very good. Thank you so much for watching. It's going to be a bit late because I didn't get home until like 10 o'clock. So thank you so much. Like, if you did like the video, comment down there to tell me what you thought of the chapter, my thoughts and reaction and all that. Subscribe for more Tower of God, much more on the channel. Follow on Twitter if you want. If you want a link to the Discord server, it is free and open for anyone. And we can definitely talk there. We always talk there. That's where, again, I referenced a lot of discussions this week. And on top of that, I guess, if you want to help support the channel, drop a super thanks if you would like to. It really is very extremely appreciated. Or if you want to get a shout out at the end of every video or get One Piece videos early, you can hit join to become a channel member, or go to patreon.com/Haku of the Tubes, or link will be in the description to become a patron. Thank you so much to people who are already patrons and members. Thank you to Chosen Regular Evan Holly, Magical Girls, FR Nono and Abyss Knight, Cheriton Students, David Langstaff and Folded Ghoul, Slayer Candidates, SG and Stan Cedar, and Pure Element Pater de Owl. Thank you all so much. Slayer Candidates, SG and Stan Cedar. I did say that right. I did say that correctly. Say that right as in say it correctly. Yeah, I don't remember. I was just kind of running through. But seriously, huge thank you to all of you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting. And I'll see you all next time.